Hey everybody, welcome back to another Exotic Car Hacks video, and today we're talking about the main reasons people fail at car hacking. But you know, I was gonna say one of the main reasons probably because they look at cat videos like this. There's a little cat on a ball. It's just really, like, look at this. This is adorable. This is amazing. I find this absolutely amazing. I don't really know why. I just watch this cat just killing that ball, and it's just like adorable, you know? It's the stupidity of mankind. But anyways, that's a discussion for another time. So today we're talking about why are people having a hard time executing good hacks. And the number one and most normal and common reason why people fail is because they tend to underestimate the simplicity yet the difficulty of selling a car. So, you know, one of the big pieces of my training, and if you don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about car hacking, just click the link in the description to learn this proprietary strategy I put together that has built a community of now over 18,000 people, which is pretty impressive, right? And you can actually join us by clicking the link below or even taking a free training to learn what it means. But one of the number one reasons, like I said, is people don't understand. Everybody has this misconception of how hard is it to sell a car. And they underestimate that, and here's where the big mistakes happen. You see, because we teach you step by step in my training exactly how to position a car to sell it. But positioning a car to sell it comes down to what car you bought, how well you bought it, and how desirable is it to the exit user. And you see, the majority of people coming into the program have a hard time getting over this idea that the car they can hack isn't always the one they should buy. So what happens is someone comes in and goes, I want a red California T, or I want a red 458. But what they miss there is that perhaps the deal on that red 458 isn't the right deal to be able to exit that car at a good price. So you're basically creating resistance in the market. What does that mean? Resistance occurs a couple of reasons. Either A, you own the wrong car, like you bought an olive green car that was really ugly that nobody wanted with a yellow interior, you thought was cool. So that's mistake one. Two, you bought a perfect spec car, like a red on tan, and in this way and in this shape, but you overpaid like crazy for it because that was the only one on the market. Either ways, that's resistance. Resistance of spec, resistance of price. So whenever you are a well-executed hack allows someone to basically buy a car, drive it, and sell it for the same, if not more money, in 12 months of ownership after adding X amount of miles on it. Based on the car, there's criteria of how many miles you can add. And then as a result of it, can exit that car by selling it. Now in my program, I teach exactly how to ease that exit by ensuring the entry is the right entry so that when you go sell it, a lot of people want that car. Like it's the right color, it's the right specs, it has the right options, and more importantly, you bought it at the right price. Like all of these put together simplify getting out of a car. And the majority, probably like 80% plus of my students who follow this criteria will get out and sell their cars within 10, 15 days without a lot of pressure, without difficulty, without negotiations, because people will want these cars and won't be eager to negotiate because they will most likely lose the only car they wanted. On the other side though, the students that don't do that well are the ones that typically focus heavily on the idea of what they want rather than what they need to buy to be able to hack. So that's where the differentiator comes in. Oh, I wanted this so cheap. I wanted to buy the cheapest car on the block because that's what I could afford. Well, the cheapest car is usually the worst car to buy. You know, I wanted to buy this color because I loved it, not because it made sense to resell later. So again, the one terminology I've always shared with students that I'll share with you here on YouTube is that you're not marrying a car, you're dating a car. And so it's almost like when you're going out with a chick and you know it's short term, you know it's gonna be 3 months. Do you really care what her credit score is? Do you like go to her and go like, I can't date you, I can't pound you, I can't face you because your credit score is a 650? You thought about that, Reggie, right there. What was that? Did you ever do that?
I really just started thinking about Andrew.
Oh, you started thinking about it right now?
I was thinking about Andrew. Like,
You were thinking about a man?
no, not nothing gay, but you know,
What do you mean? You white?
our YouTube guy. It starts like, look,
He's gonna be like, can I use this?
should we-
Apparently they're trying to ban me from YouTube for this stuff. But anyways, so you don't date, you don't look at a girl you want to pound for literally 90 days or 6 months or a year that you have no intention of marrying or keeping, and worry about every little thing she's done wrong in her past when you know it's temporary. So, and that's what happens to people. They go into the factor saying, yeah, I understand that. I just want to have fun. I want to make well on the system. And then they get caught in this idea that they basically feel like they have to marry every single thing they purchase. And then as a result of that, they put themselves in a really bad position because they're going to have a really bad time over the next 12 months rather than a really good time at the time of exit. The other analogy that I use when it comes to hacking and ensuring you understand this is that everyone is always in love with what they're purchasing. Like a normal person that buys a Ferrari for their first time is going to fall in love with the idea of owning a Ferrari. And there's always this ideology where you're like, I'll cave in. Like it's a little bit more than I want to pay. It's this, it's that, it doesn't matter. What happens though to the mind is basically like a prenup. And as you can see, I have really good relationship advice. So coming next week is basically going to be my anal probing channel launching on, did I just say that on YouTube? Okay, yeah, anyways, we're not going to do a relationship channel. That was a joke. But what I was trying to say is that we're talking about like this idea that when you marry a car or buy a car, you have to think of the hacking methodology, which basically is your prenup to that transaction. You see, when you get married without a prenup, you don't expect to get divorced. You don't expect to leave, which is why you typically say, who needs a prenup? I love this person. But things change. And when do things change? Often when you meet someone else that does something better than the previous person. So you look at that and you go, well, I didn't want to change, but now this happened, so I'm out. So at the time you're out, now you created a block for yourself because you can't get out of your marriage without a prenup. Like you're thinking about, well, what about this? What about that? What happens to this? What happens to my money? What happens to my house? What happens to that? Is it worth it? Is the new facility worth what is going to be lost? So if you look at it that way, then you start to realize that, shit, if I would have gotten less emotional at the time of purchase and would have thought of the exit plan as a possibility, then perhaps I would be prepared for it. And it's the same thing. You see, a prenup is a financial tool, and car hacking is also a financial tool. It forces you to look at the exit as much as the entry and ensure that by the time you exit the car, you're in a better financial position or in an okay financial position rather than a terrible one. And this is the difference between car hacking, and this is what escapes a lot of my students at times, who don't follow this rule, but I think it's a very important rule to follow. I mean, again, everybody will argue against a prenup based on that it's not trustworthy, it's not this and that, but any person who has experience will tell you that if there is no divorce, then why does having a prenup matter? It doesn't, but it works here because this is a financial course and a financial ideology, not so much a car one. So that's, I think, a big pitfall of people that typically fail at car hacking. Now, in addition to that, I also wanted to mention that one of the big pieces, I think, that also people fail at is when they buy a car and go through our program, they typically don't follow the process when it pertains to executing on the exit of car. So not only just what we talked about now, which is they underestimate, so they don't pay attention to the exit dollar, but also they don't prepare. So there are step-by-step guides within our community on how to prepare throughout ownership of the car to ensure that the car is still highly desirable to people, like such as review the market, pay attention to the market, and ultimately understand when and how to take photos and when and where to present the car so that it can be gone quickly. Well, a lot of people basically look at the hacking model as a stage where they don't want to be bothered with it. So they buy the car, they don't want to worry about it, and then the day they want to sell the car, they expect the car to be gone in 3 days without doing anything, and as a result, they end up keeping the car for 90 more days and end up not following the process because it takes a little bit of effort to get rid of the car. Now, the benefit of this is that this effort dissipates over time. The more you do it, the better you get at it and the more streamlined it is. If I told you you could get out of a car in 30 days if you took great photos, presented it to these 4 dealers and 3 listed industry websites, and you chose to do just a third of these operations, then you would get a third of the results. And so the point is that a lot of times people try to reestablish the guidelines on car hacking when they're clearly in front of them, rather than, again, following the data, following their own laziness or emotion. But these are really the only pitfalls of people that get stuck in the wrong hacks and ultimately are having a hard time getting out, or could lose more money than they typically would have bargained to lose to begin with if they would have followed the process in full. So, it may sound simple, it may sound like common sense. Things aren't when you're involved with your own money and your own emotions. Things change a lot, which is part of the reason why we have a community to kind of support the process and to help you through this model, so that you're not alone as you undertake some of these challenges. But again, remember, if you want to learn more about the hacking methodology, please turn on notifications and subscribe, and then of course take the training in the description. You need it, and it will help you 100% get to that next phase of your life where you start to look at cars as an asset, not so much a liability. And I hope you can join us here at Exotic Car Hacks.